Hello everyone and welcome to yet another live coding and chill. I'm your host Johnny, delighted to be here. Hope you're having amazing weekends and you're up to a great Sunday start and you'll have a great Sunday with me. Spend some of your lovely time with me having a great learning experience, learning how to do game dev with Godot. So what are we doing today? We're not doing web dev, we're not doing Svelte and SvelteKit, we're not doing LLMs and all of that. What we are doing is participating to the MinnMax GameJam, the MinnMax Community GameJam, which we lovingly call MinnHax. There are links in the descriptions for everything, including eventually the downloadable game that we'll be building for this. The theme for this game jam is heart, as in the emoji of heart. I see lots of people already trying to get the emoji theme in, not particularly heart, but heart itself is a thing that can be the focus of your game. Or you can even not have a focus at all and just do your own thing and optionally add like some flavor, optionally do some of the side quests that are here. The idea for this month-long game jam is to have fun trying to create maybe your very first game, maybe your very first team game working with other people, maybe just get something out. Maybe just break from making games for a living and make a quick one for this game jam. So a very chill game jam. To be clear, I have nothing to do with this. As always, no affiliations whatsoever with the things that I saw in the stream. So I just thought that the vibes are on for this one. We do live coding and chill. We're gonna chill with this chill game jam and see how far we can get. So we've shown last time that I've been making a 3D game, which looks a little bit like this. Let's have a quick play here. So look at the lovely effects. Look at the defeat clouds. Look at the screen shake when we get hit. Look at the UI. It's looking amazing. But we won't be doing that today. I figure for this, we'll be doing 2D. I think it's easier to do 2D when you don't know too much, which I do not, about the game dev. There must be a point where if you're good enough at game dev, doing it in 3D must be easier. Doing some high quality work in 3D could be easier than doing everything necessary to make your sprites look amazing, for example. But at the skill level that I am at, I do think 2D game dev is the way to go for this. And I like the idea of switching between 2D game, 3D game, and taking learnings from each one. So what I've scaffolded for today is a top-down pixel art game where what we have to start with is a character that is physics-based, so they're moving on impulse, as well as the enemies here that do randomly change direction. And they can interact with the player just because they're physics objects and have locked their rotation, but if you defeat them, maybe they spin around amazingly, and it's gonna be quite fun. But the main goal for today is for these mobs, these enemies, these cute little glitches, I call them, is for them to be able to go after the player. So they should be able to figure out how to get from wherever they are to where the player is, which is not as simple as it sounds. If this were Plants vs. Zombies, like a tower defense game, you can just define the path that you want the enemies to take, or just keep going to the left, and if you find a defense, then destroy it or something like that. But in this game, where there are obstacles, where there will be rooms, they need to be a bit cleverer than that. You just can't tell them keep going left and you'll hit the character. You can't even calculate the character is there. You are here, find the straight path and go there. Not that I can easily do that, but I know a thing or two about maths, so I should be able to calculate triangulate a line between 2 points. But what we want is for example, this enemy here on the bottom right to be able to know that, oh, first they need to go through the door and then go after the character. So we'll be doing pathfinding, we'll be solving pathfinding today, and the way to do that with Godot is by using nav messes, navigation messes, navigation agents, that sort of thing. I've looked a bit into the documentation, but I don't really, this will be my first time doing this. I have set some of the tile maps to be collision objects. So in theory, what we will do, it will mean that the AI will know what they are allowed to pass through and what they cannot. They cannot pass through walls, even though they look like ghosts, I guess. Maybe I should have picked a different enemy for this. Anyway, long story short, we'll try to do the nav message today, the navigation, the chase animation, the hand down animation. Hope you think it's fun, but we're doing this live. If you think something else could be fun, please let me know. We'll talk about what the game is going to be about later as well. If we manage to crack this, the navigation part, the hand down part, maybe we'll do things like the enemies can damage the player and have collectibles that the player can pick up, like health collectibles. And then the game becomes about being able to get to the collectibles while dodging these monsters coming at you. Could be a fun gameplay area, but again, we have a month to do this game, so I'm not really sure where the fun would be. And I kind of randomly ended up in this scenario where I really want to do the hunt mechanic. So that's what we'll be cracking first today. Let me know in the chat what you're working on, if you're working on alongside with me, if you're doing your own weekend breakaway to do game dev, or if you keep doing front-end dev, or if you're just chilling, which is really the way to go, to be honest. So, great to be here. We're using Godot 4.3, a dev version, even though it doesn't have anything that would help us when it comes to navigations. It seems that 4.2 is the one that changes the game a little bit when it comes to nav messes, and I have put a link in the description to this excellent video with Octodemy that I scrubbed through and seems to explain this in just 6 minutes. Excellent tutorial. One of the reasons that I like working in Godot, and I chose Godot for getting deep into game dev at this late stage in my career, from app development and front-end dev in particular, is the quality of the tutorials is really good. Lots of people have great tutorials about how to do things in Godot. Of course, sometimes you find like an older tutorial version, Godot version 3 or something, but a lot of the time you do find current stuff that seem to be just what you want. Very well put together, not many, oh, click this and play Raid Shadow Legends to see the rest of the video or whatever. Great audio quality, really great stuff. I can't praise it enough, but I did link in the description if you want to have a look, as well as the actual docs that we'll be trying to go through. Godot has searchable docs that you can find in the editor as well, but sometimes, even though they do often have examples, here's how you can do this, they don't quite cover what I actually want to do. I guess in game dev, when inspiration strikes, you want to do something similar to what's by the book, but kind of different. So they can't predict what your inspiration will strike you to try to do. So they can't cover every scenario. But yeah, I think we'll start the same way as how they suggest here with the navigation region 2D and see whether that gets us. So with that out of the way, and I am jotting down the timestamp here, so I can more quickly add timestamps at after the live stream is done. Let's dive in. So, goal for today, if you want, later please ask, and I will show how I've done the character controller, the animations, all of that. But the goal is to get these enemies to be going after the hero character. I have the glitz class name, which represents enemy. I've called these little ghost glitzes, which essentially they set up a timer when they start, and at a random amount of time, they keep changing direction from going left to going right, and that's why they have the current movement. But what I want here is for them to be able to keep track of where the player is, and then be able to figure out the best path to take to actually approach and get to the player and damage them or bear them down or whatever it is that they're gonna do. So instead of just this cardinal direction thing being either left or right, I actually want to say go there. And this handle movement method is the same one that I have for the player, because I've abstracted away the logic that I had for the character controller into a single class, which I called physics character 2D, and it has this internal method, this private method, that takes a direction, and then it makes sure to apply the forces and the correct animations to actually start going to that direction. So if we manage to make our nav mesh be able to tell us which direction we want to go now, we should be able to pass it into this method, and then it will apply the physics forces needed to get those enemies towards that direction. But how do we get the direction? That's the thing to figure out today, folks. And it seems it all starts with creating a navigation region. So let's do it. Not a navigation server? Where's the server? Definitely we need this. So it's like, example, here's how you do it. Add the navigation region, not the server. So where do we add the server? Who knows? Maybe the navigation server is not a class that you add to the scene. Can only imagine. So yeah, in our stage, in our office stage, let's see, navigation. And indeed, I cannot see a navigation server even if I wanted to. And let's add a region experimental class. Didn't expect this. Yeah, I think people like it from what I understand, so it should be fine. And then I need to configure a nav mesh. Which I understand is like the rough place, the rough area that you want your enemies to go. So let's do a new navigation polygon. Did that do anything? No. And say that roughly, like, I want them to go within these walls, within the states. And not even go for that door. I guess in theory, I could like manually just have them turn around this door as well. But I want this game to be easily extensible. Like, I don't want to dig holes everywhere I put furniture, because I'm gonna change this level. So I just want to say, around this area, I want you to be able to get the player. So maybe I'll make it even bigger for demo purposes. Bigger than the camera. Don't click out of the polygon until you're done editing it. Ooh, and then I click rebake, I guess. All right, so we have this. What else do we need? In here, they are creating a very intricate navigation mess. But I do want it to have holes where these elements are. Now, on the tile set, I have defined that these collide with the enemies. So I'm hoping that baking the navigation polygon will make them know that they cannot actually access this. We'll see. And navigation layer, just one, sure. Then it says add a character body today. We're using rigid bodies because we're doing physics-based movement, because I always think physics-based anything is more fun. And they need to have a navigation agent 2D node. So these guys, glitch guys, let's give them a navigation agent. And then that's it. And then they're saying, like, do a few things, I suppose. Setting the movement target. Ah, right. When they do want access to this navigation agent, sure, the script wants access to this. There are some things that you can tweak. How close you want them to get to wherever you are. I guess we can read them later. Let's get them in the rough area of where the human is, the hero is. So on the script here, I like setting scene unique names everywhere and then getting them like this, the new way to do it. And then so in our glitch character, I do prefer doing this in VS Code. What they want, oh, they're waiting for the physics frame. Interesting. And then they set a movement target. Interesting. We won't be doing this in a physics process or anything. We'll be doing it in integrate forces, as we mentioned before. How would we figure out the direction if it's not like left or right? Let's see. Is navigation finished? If the navigation is finished, then it does nothing. When does it reset? Setup. Say it again. No. Can we abort it every time? Oh, direction 2 seems quite good. Since we are using physics, I don't think we need to wait for this to set the movement target. I don't know how expensive it is to set it every time. Ah, it shouldn't be bad at all. All right, so we can steal this method altogether. Set movement target. Yeah, let's call it navigation agent. Then target position is gonna be this. But when are we gonna be setting this? Maybe every time we run the integrate forces, or kinda every frame. But the current target should be the player. So how do we know what the player is? From my previous game, where I didn't have the enemies go towards the player, I did have this AI script, which I guess put the player in like a global, as far as I understand from the GT Quest course. When working with AI, there is this concept of a blackboard and putting things that the AI may find interesting in there. So one of the things is to put the player in there. So if we want to put the player in there, maybe the hero script on ready or on init. Let's see already. We can say AI Blackboard player is self. It's me. But the player is no longer a character body 3D from my other game. It's actually a physics character 2D. So this one should be happy now. So this means that if AI Blackboard has a player, or if it doesn't have a player, then we can return. Or pass, or whatever we want to call. But if we do, then we can give the player global position to it. Oh. Yeah, just find it from the same place. And then, how do we figure out the direction? This thing claims that they have a direction too. Should we do the same thing for clarity? Nah, global position is known enough. So this is what we want. Our global position, direction 2, the next path position, and the next path position is the something we get from the navigation agent that we've added. And that's going to be our direction. And we pass that to handle movement, and we're golden. Let's see. Will this just work? I'd be amazed. Then again, we are amazing sometimes. And the people who wrote this instance. Oh, beautiful. All right, so they are going towards me, great, but they don't have a concept of they cannot go through walls, which is really what we want. Hello, Mike in the chat. How are you? Oh, I'm getting lousy with glitches here. My weekend has been very nice. Yesterday I spent a lot of time getting this together, which has been great. But now we get to the fun stuff. We get to the AI. So just chasing is fun, but they get stuck. And this has to be because they don't know that the tiles are obstacles. And I think that's because there must be something here. There must be a setting here. So how was your weekend so far, Mike? Should ask. So I remember from that excellent video that you can put something in the navigation region to actually say also look into like the siblings, but I don't know where this property is. We'll find it though. Mike says that that's your dream game. Oh, first game I make is your dream game. Amazing. So it must be somewhere, either in the navigation polygon. Root node children. Group with children. Maybe we need to put them in a root. All right. So, right. So from the video, it says, what's the source geometry group? It seems like this is a sensible default. Let's see. In the video, they do switch to group with children. And then they just rename this to something that's easier to remember. Navigation. So now I'm gonna give all of these guys. Mike says, game dev, so much math. And thankfully, I came third in Greece in maths in high school, which was 20 years ago, to be fair. So I did need to do a little bit of math to get to the States, but not too much. Because the getting the next best path is like a classic math problem and computer science problem. But some people have figured out for us, Mike. So we are in luck today. So I think the ground never has anything that will block the player. So I don't think I should include it in the group, but just for clarity, I'll go to node groups and add this guy to the navigation group. Because probably in your game, you will have some information there. And I'm not sure still what global means. I've gone through tutorials doing groups and stuff. Important. I'd imagine it's global, not just for the officine. I think that's the thing. So now this is in a group. And here, this one, add it to this group. Add it to this group. Every tile, add it to this group. Add it to this group. Chairs, add them to the group. I'm also using the new thing with Godot, which is tile layers. But I think I'm doing it in a clever way that I haven't quite seen. That each one has a tile set, but some of them share a tile set. So I still have the tile set resource, which if you try to use it as a node is deprecated, but you can still use it as a resource that you save. So that's maybe something interesting. Still not working. Ah, I didn't rebaking. Let's see. We're cooking here. All right, so clearly the polygon is different, and it has created holes where the things are. So this is gonna work. This is gonna be amazing. Maybe I was too excited for it. But I think this guy did try to go through the door. So I think now we just need to tweak the parameters of how close they get to the edge. Because I'm using 40. They're just stuck on me, which is like quite fun. So there must be something in the cell size, for example. And from that excellent video, I think they mentioned half the pixel, the size of your tiles is a good number. Maybe it was like just under half. I don't remember. So let's do just under 23 and rebake. Oh, maybe that wasn't what was suggested. There is another place to change the cell size. In the project settings, we can mess with this, but border size. Yeah, so maybe this one is the one that should have a bit of a buffer. Border, no border from CSS. So let's see, is that doing better? Not really. But it should be somewhere there. Is Godot the same experience with Svelte? You hit polymorphism? Well, it has the component composition model, which I like from web dev. You'll see in React that you put things inside things and you make complicated things like that. But it does have a lot of extending classes as well, which you see less in JavaScript and TypeScript, but I still do, like you've seen this in some of my videos. So I've mentioned that both this glitch character, the enemy, and the hero character that you control I've made a brand new class that they extend that has the movement logic of how to apply the forces to them and has the things that you can tweak in the editor. So the composition is something that you'll be able to bring from what you've learned in modern front-end dev. The class extension, I think, you know, you've come across it, but you haven't used it that much. So when you say polymorphism, it's something like this. Maybe you won't absolutely love it. But let's see. So this video I'm referring to, the problem is that I can't make my headphones run through.
Create a physics layers with the add element button.
Collision layers, I think, are correct.
Open the tileset window.
Great.
Should have collisions
I couldn't get my headphones to actually work with being able to hear the video. So I'll... well, Java is a classic case of extending classes left and right. Java is the reason we have widescreen monitors, because you need to see the class extends, it implements like all these things. I love it.
Which is not what we want. Change the source.
So this is where they do the group with children trick. Great, 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 great.
We need to adjust is the radius.
The agents. Of course, it's in agents. It's in here. The distance to erode shrink the walkable surface when baking the navigation meant. All right. So not to get stuck into doors, we do this.
But that is also not good.
And will he do 7 here? I think so. So just under half, I remember correctly. And we have 48 pixel tile sets, so 23 radius should be good. Rebake. All right, so now you can see that there is some more leeway, so less of a chance to block through the door. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. Yes. Should make bigger doors, so I can more easily go through them as well. So they do have some problem with the tables still. But overcomable. And you know, they're enemies too, so they aren't the brightest. They shouldn't be the brightest. But from there, like these guys, I would want them to be able to escape. I just don't understand that they cannot do this. So should I make it like 1 tile wide? Like this, like to here, they get a bit too close. Mike says I'm a game dev now, clearly. So I can pass through this. But these guys cannot. I think I've given them like a bigger collision shape. I think that's the problem. All right, let's look at the glitch guy. So I've made the collision shape too big, which I shouldn't. This should be their hitbox, not their collision shape. What I've changed with the hero is make their capsule, like what blocks them, smaller to represent where the feet are, really, where the body is. But these guys, they should be able to switch to squeeze through things without accounting for their head, because it's top down, so they're kind of, you know what I mean. So let's change this collision shape. Maybe the agent radius, that's the thing that kind of should be irrelevant to our agent radius thing that we changed. Mike says, you really wanted to make a aimbot when you were a child. Ah, that's the difference between you and me. I just got good. I could Counter-Strike and CSGO like nobody else. You know you made it when people accuse you for aimbotting. That's fun. But it's a classic. thing to build for sure. And of course, I'm just joking, obviously. All right, so let's say that this should be their block. Let's say 24 pixels, actually. This should be their blocking area. $24.12, and our hero, what do they have? Collision shape, that's a capsule, that's 1032. So taller, but fine. And to recap, we changed the agent radius, so how big the agents are. So rebaking shouldn't do anything. How do the agents know how they fit? Isn't it accounting for their shapes? So again, they got stuck in the corner, sadly. Even though now they should be able to squeeze through a bit better. Try to glitch the glitch. Harder now. Okay, that's good. That's good. I think we're cooking. I also have gamepad support if you find the keyboard clicky clackiness too tricky. They can go through the door, the chair. Well, if they can clear the chair, then I think we did it. Oh, beautiful. Oh. All right, cool. Should they be weighing you down? I'm not sure. All right, awesome. Awesome. I think we did it. So anything else? The big configuration, the agents, mess around with this, the radius, sure. Then they talk about the cell size. And I think that's a performance concern. So the bigger the cell size, the better the performance will be, but not something we should worry with just yet. Like, we can look at the video offline and deal with it. And then some other cool things. Don't think anything essential for us. In each navigation polygon that we make, we can define how costly it is to enter. So I don't know if they needed to pay a ticket if we pretended something like this, and the cost was too high, they would never enter. Or more commonly, once they're in, you can change the travel cost to a different value. So if you tell them, well, if you want to recreate the effect where you have a piece of mud, a place that's like rough terrain where you move at half speed, that's where you'd game it. You'd make the navmesh say that the travel cost for this region is 1.5 or 2. So they wouldn't want to go through the mud, all other things being equal, but there will be a point where, all right, taking the shortcut through the mud, even though it's moving through mud is slower, because the other path, the long way around, is too long, they would still go for the mud. So that's an interesting thing to think about in the future, although I don't think we'd have something that complicated here. It could be fun to do. Now that I think about it, immediately I'm like, oh, actually, it would be fun to have some areas where the player can move fast through, but the enemies are really slow. So I think that would feel good. I think that would feel like you are cheating the system if you can go through these things that actually make the enemies go really, really slow. So they try to avoid them, or they get stuck if they try to go them. Mike says it's like creating an Excel in web app from scratch. Well, there are so many things that aren't from scratch. I'm actually like quite excited. But of course, it's like a small thing because it's baby's first steps into game dev, but I'm excited to make things move around for sure. Like every game has things moving around, so it feels like so fundamental. But you know, doing it like that, doing pathfinding, I think we've done well to solve it already. So we have the travel cost. We talked about, like, we could have shortcut areas that the player can go fast through, but it's very slow for the enemies, which could be good. Anything else from here? I think for our fundamental game, that's it. I think we did it. Well done to us. Pat ourselves on the back. As always, let's add a few more glitzes. Should I lock the navigation region? So how do I stop from myself from selecting this every time when I want to add an enemy? I do know that I have the enemies in this characters directory, and the glitz is here, so I can just drop them. Choop. All right. So still works no matter the amount of enemies, and that's logic we could abstract to any enemy, but I guess maybe not. It depends on how many enemies I want to be going after the player, because you can have enemies with different behaviors. Maybe some enemies want to avoid the player, for example. Maybe some enemies will be going after an item, and I like how they bunch together. But yeah, cool. I consider this solved. Awesome. Next up, damage. So once they hit us, they need to actually do some damage. All right. How would that work? So the enemies very cleverly can go through the obstacles and chase the player, but if they do catch up with the player, then nothing happens, and we want something to happen. We want something to happen. Even though just having them with you is fun, seeing them clumped on the player makes me think that maybe it just slows the player down or something. But let's do hitting damage, so you can actually lose this game. Even if I do have like a might type of enemy that just sticks on you and makes you slower, which would be quite fun. It could be like a representation of regret or something like that, and it only makes you slower and you should let behind. It could be a nice metaphor. But there surely will be an enemy that damages the player. So let's figure out how to do that. And thankfully, from GTQuest, but from other resources as well, it seems that it's very common in game dev to have to create new classes for yourself for hitboxes and hurtboxes. So hitboxes, these terms are kind of interchangeable in that different games call them different things, but our player has this collider that says, all right, with other physics objects, this is where they can collide when it comes to movement. That's how I see this. But they should have a slightly bigger sphere, a slightly bigger area that represents the area that they can get hurt on. That would be their hurt box. And if this player had an attack, like a punch, then when they throw the punch, then that punch should have a hitbox, which would be the area that when it enters hurt box, it triggers some logic to say, oh, now, you know, the thing with the hitbox hit the thing with the hurt box, so it needs to get hurt and take damage. So that's very common in video games. Even Pac-Man had it. And I guess Pac-Man is an inspiration for this. So let's see what is this thing that I stole from City Quest. Well, I paid for this, I guess. But let's see what it does. We have a hitbox 3D, but this is a 2D game, so I'll need to adapt this to a hitbox 2D. And I guess the difference would just be to extend an area 2D. Oh, I did remove this hitbox thing. Let's find it from another directory. Just to have like a nice icon for it. Right. So where would it be? It would be in my computer games directory, in CD Quest. I think it's in 3D Game Dev. Anyone, I suppose. And some says, happy birthday to me. So I'm on the 20th of October. We have 2 weeks to go. It's gonna be the 2 live streams from now. And I'll hold on to being in my 30s for as long as possible. So you are have an October birthday as well. Happy birthday to you if it happens to be today. Many, many happy years. As we say in Greece, may you live 1,000 years of happiness, health and happiness. On the 5th, yesterday. So happy birthday for yesterday. I hope you had a lovely day. And I'll say again, 1,000 years of health and happiness. Right, so this thing apparently has some SVG icons we can use. These guys. Can I just slide them? I've created an icons directory now. Missed. So let's cut from here, paste here. Does it work? Not really. Cool. Did I miss again? I got too confident with doing the navigation so quickly that I decided to waste so much time with the simplest thing. So why am I doing all of this? I'm doing all of this because I like pretty things. You'll notice that both the hero and the glitch enemy, they have like this little emoji sprite, keeping in theme with the GameJam theme as well. And that's what I want for our custom hitboxes and hurt boxes, to be able to have a custom icon that signifies what they are when you see them inside a character. Right, so that's the icon, the least important thing is done. Let's go to more important things. This hitbox 3D, which I call in, like, I've put in a components directory. Let's create a new one. Should it be in characters? I guess anything can have a hitbox. So maybe components is nice. I just don't want to nest it inside a components directory anymore. This objects directory pattern I didn't like in the end. So let's make a components root level directory. And in there, let's do it through the editor because Godot is a bit better when you create things in the editor. Let's create a new script. And let's call it hitbox 2D. Open that one. Open those. So the hitbox 3D, copy everything. Hitbox 2D, paste everything. And we want hitbox 2D to extend area 2D and actually use our icon for hitboxes, which we just called hitbox here. Right, so the hitbox 2D extends an area 2D, and when it hits a hurt box, it emits a new signal that we create. And do we also pass, what do we pass? It has an amount of damage, so that's good. We can look into that. It should get it should also pass the position. Yes, it passes itself, so it knows the position it is. Sure. The type of damage. So this is using flags, which is a kind of advanced concept in Godot, but we'll go through it. And then we magically set that it should be scanning for other things, and other things should be able to scan for this. And the moment anything enters its area, that's a signal that it has by default by virtue of extending area 2D. Then it does this thing if the area that has entered it is a hurtbox 3D. But Godot is complaining because hurtbox 2D is not a real thing just yet, but it will be because the next thing that we create is going to be a hurtbox 2D. And let's take inspiration from our hurtbox 3D, copy all of these things, paste them, 2D, and the icon is going to be hurtbox, and it will be emitting a took-hit signal, passing the hitbox. It's should just work. Did I change the name here? Maybe a refresh would fix it. It just doesn't know what this is, but it will be in the scope. Maybe an editor reload and it will work. The flags again is monitoring for other things, can be monitored by other things, and when a hitbox enters, then we do something. Good. So we have these things. Let's reload the project and see if the errors clear or we get more of them. Splash screen from the 3D game. Parse error. So definitely an area to be here. So maybe we're good to go. And my other question is, I'm not sure if the moment I use this in another scene, I need to make the other scene a tool as well. We'll find out. So our hero, for now, they need a hitbox. So that's a new thing that appeared now because we created it. It's a special type of area 2D. It extends it. And what we want, because it's an area 2D, it needs a collision shape. So let's add a collision shape. Collision shape 2D. And we can make it a new capsule as well. But we can make it a bit bigger. So even when they hit the head, and they hit the hero on the head, we take damage. Make them a bit punkier, just a bit. Right, and this magic flag in system that we created should be messing correctly with the physics layers, which we could find in collision. So, in theory, when I switch this around, these get changed. So what they scan for and what we scan for. Some things are in the heroes layer, some things are in the mobs layer. These are just names that I've put in. I made those up. And the other layers, I didn't give them any names, so they just have their default layer index. So this hitbox should actually be a hurtbox. That's the confusing thing, isn't it? So the same thing. Let's add a hurtbox 2D and duplicate the collision shape, put it in there, and make this unique though. Or just delete the hitbox, we don't need it. Hello Mal, how are you doing today? Lovely heart, very on theme with the GameJam. So this hurtbox should be taking hits from mobs, and let's double check. So mobs would be able to monitor this hitbox. And the hurtbox type is the player. So it's inside a player. I guess there could be a cleverer way to find this out, but hey. And this should have more documentation surely. And I did put more documentation on the hitbox, so let's see. The type of damage that this hurtbox. So I can filter out damage types. And so there is a bit of needing to keep track of a couple things. Export flanks looks like the creative and dispatcher of Godot. Yeah, it's something that I definitely need to look into. People do crazy things with like shifting one bit to the left and to the right with this thing. but I can only do it if I have the documentation right beside me. But what we're doing really is just providing checkbox options for the inspector. So the people working on the game, they're able to just click here and then something magic happen. But the magic will only happen because we've defined these methods, these setter methods, I guess. So every time a checkbox is clicked, then this value changes, the setter method runs, and it does more mutations than just setting the flags. It also sets the collision mask, which is what things it can be detected by, what things it is scanning for, and the collision layer, what things it can be detected by. But yeah, this part I get, but this similar part with like the bits here is like, oof, just give me true or false. Give me an array of true or false things. Surely that's easier. Anyway, with this done, the hurt box should be fine. Now what? Now let's give these characters a hitbox. So these things can hit the player. Give them a collision shape. Make it a capsule, why not? And stretch it. Make it smaller than the art, so it feels like the player can sometimes squeeze through. And this hitbox, the damage source, it's a mob, and it needs to scan for players. So there is an opportunity here to make this scan for other enemies as well, which would be fun. But there is some extra logic I would need to do in the hurt box or the hitbox to say that if you're targeting yourself, if the thing that entered is you, then don't actually trigger, which I haven't done. And we can even say how much damage they should take. Cool. The other thing we need, so now this hurt box will be emitting events. So it will be emitting this signal, which is an event. And every time a hitbox that it can monitor for enters it. And then what? And then nothing happens. But we should be able to go into our hero script and say on ready subscribe to the hit event of the hitbox. But we need a reference to the hurt box, so let's make it a scene unique name. And actually pull up the script because I like dragging and dropping while pressing Control to get this done for me. And this thing just reload. So now we have a reference to the hurt box, and we can say hurt box, then the signal name, which is took hit, past tense, I guess it's best practice. So this is a classic problem with Copilot and the other LLMs, is that it's giving me so much advice for old Godot, the Godot 3 and the old GD script, which is bad. So keep an eye out for that. This is not what we want. So we want to connect. We pass it the method we want to connect to. You can give it an anonymous callback. Here, just inline, but we'll have a separate method. Call it took hit. Takes a hitbox 2D, I guess. And then it does stuff with the damage. So this autocomplete was kind of cute, but not exactly what we want. So let's just print out. Yeah, I like that. To do take damage. And then print the hitbox damage. what we connect here is indeed the internal quick hit method. We don't call it. We tell it what to call when the event happens. So now, if my calculations are correct, here in the inspector, we should be able to start seeing some console logs. So good luck to us. Yeah. Nailed it. So no invulnerabilities, which would probably want to do like a grace window to stop taking damage. But you can see here that we keep taking damage, and that's nice. Done. What else do we want? So every enemy and every character should have hit points. So in our physics character script, maybe we can do like another group. Health. And then export range 1 to 1. Interesting. A max health property, which should it be like 3 by default? Doesn't really matter. Yeah, let's say 1. And here, let's also have not an exported variable. Current health, that's gonna be the max health. So derive that. And maybe we want to set it there, not really. I don't know if other things will happen. But making these things in the base class would mean that in the editor, the player should have a max health. Great. Which we can set it to 3. Oh. But it should be an integer, I think. So just set it to 1, and then it will know that it's an integer. And then you get the arrows for the range. Sweet. And the glitch character will also get this for free, and we can just keep them at 1 hit point. But if you have like an enemy, you could give them 100 hit points. And interestingly enough, even a specific instance, navigation regions, I think, do work even if you have them hidden. Now this flashed to me. So a specific instance of an enemy, you could change so that enemy in particular has a different max health than the others. Override, I suppose. So that's cool. And we did all of this because we want to go to our hero. And maybe there may be like many ways to take damage. But I'll just do it here. I won't expand. You can have setters as we've seen. So I could have a setter method that every time I set health, besides the setting the current health, it also do some other things like plain animation, but I will just do it here. All right. So I want the current health to be, let's say, current health minus this, but then I want it to be like the maximum, but these are like a math max. So I don't want it to drop below 0, I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. Great, so that should work. So this should take us back to 0. Let's do like a current health current health and see that working. Did it work? Was it too fast? Current health 0. Wait a minute. So could the problem be do this already? Yeah. So only set the current health variable after we've entered the scene. Good. And some things you can mess in the editor and change that while the game is running, which is really handy. But I guess for this one, for the current health, because you can't directly set it, then it's not gonna work. I guess you could be setting the current health even here, but not sure whether I should. You could have like a character that starts with like, you know, 5 out of 10 health or something because they're hurt. But when we get to that point, I'll worry about it. For now, let's play an animation. So I think that may be a fun thing to timestamp. Hit react animation. And we'll talk about how I've done the animation so far, so that's always fun. Both the hero and the monsters have a similar thing, where they have an animation tree that's controlling which of the animations that exist here play that I've created. And all the animations are in a giant atlas, a giant image that has all the frames of the animations there. So we need to create a new one for the hit react, but what the animation tree does is have the logic of which of the animations it should be playing. So the moment we start, it immediately goes to this node, which is the idle walk run node, even though there is no specific run animation. There is an idle animation and a run animation, and in fact there are 4 of them for each state, because in this top-down game, according to where you're looking, then you should be playing a different animation. So that's cool. And you'll notice that the way this works, like you need to make, it's easier when you make a positive Y be down, because I guess that's how Godot defines in a 2D space down as positive in the Y-axis. So that looks a bit weird up and down, but at least right and left are what we'd expect. Not something. So we want another node here, I guess another blend space, because according to where you're looking, you should have a different hit react animation. Our glitch character created a new animation there. And I can't play it now, but it looks like this. It's spinning around, so I'm not sure if I should make our character spin around as well. But we'll see. Anyway, hit animation. It means that in the animation player, we need to create a new animation. And also, let's have a look at my Figma, where I've posted all my inspiration and the assets that I have. So in these pre-made characters, in this character here, they have this hurt animation, which I guess it's only on idle. Like, most of what they're doing is just turning them red. So not like something you can do with a shader actually. So should I do it this way or not? Good question. It's maybe a good question. Having it be an animation does allow us to do like a little, like their eyes are not visible when they're hurt. And it looks like they're like, ugh, kinda hit back. So that's kinda cute, I guess. We could try it. We could try it, so we will try it. So it's in the last row. And it seems it has 3 frames per animation. So maybe we can disable this 3 and go to the animation player. Oh, and I need to close this game, I think, sadly. No more music, sorry. Because here in the animation, we can now play the animations. Cool. And I want another one that's gonna be similar to the run one, I guess. And it starts like right, up, left, down. So let's copy idle right, duplicate it, call it hit react right, let's say. And with the animation player, people love the animation player in Godot. And I can see why, like to me, trying to work with it in 3D, especially like a year ago or 2 years ago, I don't know how long it was, it kept crashing so much, so I couldn't do anything. But now it's been behaving much better. And the cool thing about it is that you can pretty much animate anything. Like you can see that anything now has a key for keyframe, I suppose. And the only thing that I need to change in this case, since we have this huge texture that has all the poses that we need, is to specify which little cell, which tile of this huge atlas we should be using. So I managed to split the atlas into the correct amount of horizontal frames and vertical frames. And then the only thing I keyframe is the frame coordinates. So where exactly should it look? Where should it play when it plays the hit react animation? So all I want is to mess with this one, and I'll switch this to frames per second. So instead of the first row, I said pose, it should be hitting the last row, which I guess was the 20th row. So if we switch this to 20, not quite, to 19. All right, 19 got us there. I guess it's 0 indexed, classic problem. Then it should still be 19 row. You can see them getting red, and then 19 row again. And these we don't need, so we can delete. And the whole animation length, maybe 9, maybe shorter. Does it sound like a hit react? It looks like this. And I guess it returns it to its previous state. We can make it a bit faster, just a space of 2 frames. Is this like too inducing of scissors? Hopefully not. We'll keep it like this for now and think about whether it changes this. hopefully that won't stay for long. Clear. Right, so this is our life now. We'll keep doing this for the other directions. And if I want to change it at some point, I will. Write it uncrust. So duplicate this. I think we'll do up next, because here they do right, up, left, down. And in here, I guess we just need like three more frames to the right. So you can see white outline, they're looking up down here. So I'll keep doing the same trick. +3, +3. Good, and now we have the hit react up. And duplicate this. Left and down. Duplicate this. Left. +3. I like the little preview they have here. Quite clever. +3. Final one. Duplicate. Down. +3. +3. +3. And just for fun, I want to do like a hit react like I have in this guy, where they just like spin around like this. So let's call it like a stun state. So let's duplicate this one. Let hit stun or stunned. And here I guess we do want to use this first. I guess we will want 12, I suppose. It's like we have here. "12 frames. On the third frame, where do we want to go? Is it like +3 or something again? So we go straight to 13. Just not. Is it 7? Not quite. Which direction do I have them spinning? So they first look like right. I think right was the first one. So let's hunt it down. 0, nope. 1, yes. And then we want another point for here. It's gonna be 4. Yeah. And last one is gonna be 7. Exert selected. If you're stunned, like it looks like this. Must have been a hard hit. And we could also make it a bit faster, but I think it's like borderline too fast. Maybe not. Maybe not. I guess usually for stun, you have like, I guess you can add particle effects of stars and stuff. Could be fun. For some reason, I thought that this doing it with 12 frames was fast enough. So we'll try it. So we have this stunned animation now. Great. In our animation tree, so I was thinking, should we just do like the hit react? And then it moves back. So the stand animation should be looping, yes. The other ones maybe shouldn't be looping. Maybe the hit, I guess. When it gets hit, the rings fall out. And you're also a hedgehog. Yeah. Hate when that happens. I was thinking the other day, is there anything more stressful than the Sonic you're about to run out of air and you're gonna drown music? I was like, no. Like, if I manage to play and survive through this, I can do anything. Those games, they sounded different, made different. Super fun. So hit react, should they just be like a single thing and then they can travel back to the normal state? I think so. Oh. Waiting for the air bubble, yeah. You have the music, you are in the spot where they spawn and it doesn't happen. I'm getting shivers, literally, just thinking about it. Core memory. Right, at some point we'll be adding music to this game, but hopefully more chill than this. Maybe not, maybe that's part of it. But yeah, waiting for the hit bubble. Too real. Right, so now these will play once, but our stunned animation will play forever. Which is what we want. And we want to go to the animation tree and re-enable it. Ugh. Like, sometimes I cannot make this active and I don't understand why. These get locked. Is it because I'm here? Ah, there you go. It depends on the tab. Figure it out on the fly. Well done, me. So I guess this should be like a different state that you can go to potentially at any time, but you can definitely return to. So add a blend space again. Hit react. Hit react. And we can edit this blend space and add some points. So again, I must remember this must be the opposite of what you'd expect. So up goes down. So hit react down. Hit react up. Right is what you expect. So hit react right goes to the right. Hit react left goes to the left. Good. And I guess we don't necessarily need this, because having the transition states help in 3D when you kind of need to blend the animations together. But here in 2D, pixel art 2D, we won't be blending in, like, you know, going for a hit and then getting hit. You'd need a separate pixels for that. You'd need a separate animation for that. You can't just fake it, which I guess goes back to my point that if you know 3D and the more complicated stuff, some things become easier. So blending two animations together, much easier in 3D when you have the 3D models already than it is when you're doing pixel art, where you kind of need to draw it yourself to make it look good. But I don't have the skills to do the Blender files, the 3D models, and all of that. So this is what we're getting today. Anyway, from the hit react state, you can go back to the idle walk run as soon as you advance at the end of the animation. Suites at end. All right. So we need two things in the script. We need to send the blend position for the hit react. I wish that so the blend position is the thing I was messing with here. So where I put this, which should change the animation if this if the preview was still working, which it's not. Play. You can do it. All right. So this is the blend position. I click my mouse here, and the blend position is where this cross is. I set this with code according to which direction the user is pressing and where they're trying to go. And I wish I could just set it once or say that it's this parameter. But as far as I understand, I would want to do this because the run animation needs the same thing. It needs a blend position. And the hit react animation needs a blend position. And now I guess in the same place, like whenever there is an input direction, whenever the user is pressing something, like just 3 times I keep doing the same thing, and every time I have a blend space animation that depends on the user input or where they're trying to look. I need to do this. All I'm saying is I would have loved if I said that these parameters, instead of using these 3 parameters, you just look at this one. Because at some point you forget, and that's a bit harder to figure out if you don't have me telling you how I made this work. Anyway, that's how the hit react should be appropriate to where we're trying to look at. And change as we are moving around, so we can still be moving. But how do we get to this state? Well, in here, in our hero, instead of being cute, we want to the animation tree, we want to travel the animation playback. We need to go back to the docs. So you can call travel to something at something, but on what? Who knows? Is it this? Let's have a look. So Godot, animation tree, travel. Travel. I think you get the animation playback from the animation. It's a parameter, of course. Okay. So maybe on ready we can create this, I guess. I don't think it changes every time, so we can just get it in our physics character. But we won't call it state machine. We'll get this. And we need to type it manually. So this is this. Animation state machine. Great. Now our hero has access to this. Animation state machine. Travel to hit react. Great. Is it dollar? It's not dollar. What is it? End. So apparently this turns a string into a symbol. So if the same string appears many times in your code, you get like a sweet performance benefit. Cool. So what I'd expect now is a cool demo where when the ghost touches us, we flash red. Oh, beautiful. So we are flipping in the wrong direction. And we're only flipping to that direction. Yes. And we do return back, but it does look like we're taking damage. It's just a bit annoying. So what have we messed up? What have we messed up? In the animation tree, here, we have the hit react, which is the blend space, and this thing, the blend space, doesn't seem to be... Ah, it needs to be discrete, because we're doing pixel art. Okay, that's it. So don't try to find the blend position, just what you are. Didn't quite work. Looks a bit different. So the other thing that I'm not sure I've done correctly is this thing I was talking about with the blend position. Ah, yeah, it's not in the IWR, it's the hit react. Just hit react. Good. That's another reason I wanted to set it to one parameter, because then inside the animation tree or the blend space, I would say, look at this. And that was it. I wouldn't need to remember like this random string. So now it just works. You can see the little flash. We can add particle effects to make it cuter, but that's pretty much it. According to the direction I'm in, I get the thing. The flash, good. No invulnerability. And it doesn't restart even if I get like 10 hits. Good. To that, I say good. Yay. Okay, so hey, that was fun. What else? Are we up for UI for player health? I'd be up for it. Did do it in the last stream for the 3D game. I'll take a little sip. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you have things that you'd want to see. So they come to us and they hit us. So it's just so this thing, that is it because we didn't define the initial position, like the player hadn't moved, so they were looking down. So before the player moves, where do we want them to look? That's a classic question, really. And I'm gonna claim that we want them to look to the right. Let's do the same for all of them. Maybe that's 0. What's the scene? So the scene is supposed to be an office. Sorry. I didn't explain this. I didn't talk about the theme of the game at all. So the theme of the GameJam is heart, which has nothing to do with this game as far as it looks like now. But what I'm thinking of is to have two phases, the vibes phase and the gameplay phase, where it looks more like a game like Pac-Man or something. And in this game phase, I think it would be like maybe a dream sequence, or maybe like a living dream, like you are in your office job, and then the way you see like the glitches in the code or the spec coming at you, or the designs, or like your imposter syndrome or something like that. they're coming to you like enemies. Well, in real life, you keep doing your work, but this is the representation of your day-to-day life. So this would be the startup office environment. But I do have like quite a few tile sets here. So let's see how it should be. It was fun to design the levels, but I haven't done much. I guess I predict it will be fun to design the levels, but this is more what I see of what this scene should be. So more like this. But it could be anything. It could be like a fun gym date, gym and ice cream, classic combination. Could be a trip to the museum. Could be anything. And again, we have like 1 month to figure out what the theme in the indication should be. But having the levels be fun to look at, I think is important. And yeah, they say write what you know. So I was like, oh, startup office. That's what we want to do. But let me know, like, what speaks out to you in these things. And these are like possible enemies that I found cute. Of course, this is the glitz. And you have slimes, you have zombies, you have orcs, you have skeletons, and you have other things as well. But yeah, that's the basic breakdown. And this is the classic, like Herman Miller knockoff chair with like the grid on the mesh on the back as well. I appreciated this. More of these, but we'll see. So, what were we doing? We're doing something I feel important. UI. The most important thing, UI. So, in the office level, I think we need a UI layer. Like, how did I do it in the past? Not sure. And I was messing around with the animation tree, like positions, blend positions here. So here could also be 0, 0, because the thing that kind of annoyed me is that in the beginning, it happened again. Why? Don't understand. Let's set it to 1 for look right. So you start looking right. All right, it goes to the right. Sure. Good. So this was a great question. So now we're actually going to do the hard UI. We know that our player has 3, 2, 1, 0. They should be getting knocked out health. But there is no UI representation for this. And I think the way we do it is by adding a control. Not a canvas. Not nothing. Canvas layer. Independent rendering of objects within 2D scene. I think that's what we want. So in the canvas layer here, we should add maybe a control. And this could be stats. Maybe not. Let's take it step by step. So we want a horizontal box container. And in here, This could be like the hearts, health. And in here, this thing should be on the bottom left. Bottom left. Anchor here, bottom left of the camera. And can only hope we did this correctly. Ah, interesting. It's not on the bottom left of the camera. Oh well, we'll figure it out. Follow viewport. Maybe that will work. Let's just put a label there. Let's say hello. That's what we kind of did last time. So we have this canvas layer, and somehow we should make it be in the bottom left. Follow viewport. What does that do? Ah, maybe we don't want this. Oh, so that's a viewport. Okay, good to know. And I guess the scene and the camera should be there. Yeah, I should have moved the camera, I suppose. So the camera. Do I want to do this now? How do I make this be the canvas layer camera based? Because it feels like that's what we want. So Godot 2D, make canvas layer, follow camera or something. Make the HUD a child of the camera. Okay. UI. Harder than I thought. Let's see how we copy pasted our way for the other game, for the art game. How does that work? Kenny, famous free asset person, 2D and 3D assets, they have a starter that sets up quite a few things for us. So this HUD thing, layer visible, transform, nothing, not happening. It does have a script, this thing. It's just nothing. Does this do anything? No. So somehow they made this just work. The camera is here inside the view. Does the view do anything? It's the thing I'm afraid of. It must be something related. do these, maybe not actually, do these anchor buttons that I never quite get. All right, let's start designing, and we'll steal that logic as well. So let's say, instead of trying to do it here, plonk, maybe it's different for 3D games as well. Let's confirm we didn't break anything. Great. Let's create a new thing. A user interface. This begins as a control, but we don't want this. So let's create a canvas layer. Call it HUD as well. And at the very least, we should be able to design this better. Yeah, almost everything inherits node 2D or 3D, including canvas layer. So node 2D has many things. Camera 2D is indeed a child of a node 2D. Canvas layer is actually a child of node, which is interesting, so, but makes sense because you can have them on 2D scenes and 3D scenes alike. So we have this HUD, and let's save it in, I must have a UI directory. Surely. Yeah, here. Oh, here's a HUD. I still have the HUD scene there. If I were to drop the HUD in the game, would it just work? Let's see. So in this office scene, if I were to just drop the HUD from the other game that we've created, I imagine that things would break. Right, so it tries to go to the top right, to the top left here, which I guess kind of makes sense. The player needs to be able to move. Maybe the camera will not be moving, but in some, maybe it will, so I cannot confirm. There must be a way to make this happen. In any case, let's try to design the HUD here. Should we design it from scratch since we have something actually? So we have this HUD situation. We have created all of this already, like the resume screen. Maybe I should try to do something else, because we even have the heart container from last time. So all we really need is to get the player health, but I see. All right, so we can make this work for like the demo without moving like this whole thing. To be slightly on the bottom right. Let's do the opposite. Let's make our HUD scene. Let's add the HUD scene here. But then it's like the pose logic and all of these things that I haven't accounted for. Oh well. Let's move it over. There must be something that says even though the camera is moving, then you are still in the same viewport or something. But that's something to figure out later. All right, this crashes because there are many things that don't exist. And it is that our hero character doesn't have that signal that we want to subscribe to, the health changed thing. So our hero character should have a signal for health changed that we should use at some point, maybe onto kit. And I think we meet the current health, or do we meet nothing? Do we meet just the player? Let's see. Current health and max health. That's what they want. Current health and max health. And named it the same thing. All right, so does this work any better? It works, but not quite. So I guess I didn't try to render the game. Okay, so even though in the editor it looks different, in real life it's in the correct place, I suppose. All right, so that's interesting to know. It's good to know. So we have the hearts. We actually get hit correctly, beautifully. I'm not gonna make the logic to move the camera, but I think it will just work. I think it will just work, he says. So the HUD scene that we do have includes the game over screen and the pause screen. And yeah, I suppose this is just for visual representation. But maybe the thing about not following or following the viewport, this is the thing to change. Who knows? I guess for you to be able to edit it, they would have some sort of UI element. You'd need to be able to see it somewhere. But lots of things are different when you run. So for example, these enemies, they start like looking down, but in real life, the first animation is to look left. Or something. When the game runs, some script run. I can't explain it, really. But, so let's have another look how this works. Our HUD has many elements, including a coin icon, which we don't want. A label for how many coins you had, which we don't want. The health container, which we do want. And the health container, what can I do? And we don't even need the script. Maybe detach the script. Forget this script ever happened. Delete it. Plonk. Still running? Yeah. And I guess we can just go into this view and we can see it nicely here. Cool. So the health container itself is its own scene. And just, so that's another example of like, for UI purposes, I have 3 text renticles that show the heart that we're drawing, the Svitzy heart. But in real life, like, something else happens. Even if I don't have them here, then in real life we're adding the correct elements in the container. So yeah, game runs, scripting happens. And what are we saying? We're saying we're finding, again, much like the enemy AI, we're finding the player from the blackboard, where we put them when the player instantiates on a scene. And we connect to the health changed event, and we run this internal method that clears whatever is there. So that's why whatever I put here to begin with. These rectangles are meaningless. And then for a loop that's as long as how much the max health should be, it draws new texture rectangles. They have a specific expand mode, so they'll actually, that's like the flex shrink or flex grow that you could put in a flexbox container, like flex shrink 0, I guess is the equivalent. And if the current index of the loop is less than the current health, we draw the full heart texture, or else we show the empty heart. Great. So that's how that works. Glad I cleared that up for myself, like a refresher from last week. And yeah, some UI, we could put like a few other things to make this more or less visible. We could make it react to the player being around there. And we could use a different texture. We take inspiration from what we have available here. We do have like some heart containers that do account for empty heart as well. Like more on the pixel style. Maybe that's something we should do. These are classic heart pieces from Zelda. For sure. Carrots, we could have collectibles. But yeah, this could be the health. It could also be like a bar that depletes. Maybe that's more classic or less, don't even know. Or it could also be an animated sprite or a sprite. So if we wanted to have a little animation playing every time one heart gets depleted, that would be fun to do. But let's see. Let's see where our heart container lives. Called it health container. Oh, another health bar. It's another experiment. Who knows? What is this? Ah, for the enemies. So this is an enemy bar that is on in that other style that I mentioned, which is a bar that you fill. All right, good to know. This is the one we want. It's in scenes UI. So maybe here, right alongside it. Maybe not. Maybe not. I am thinking on the fly. So we have this health armor and magic things. Ah, they have like a big sprite with everything. That's not that big, but they have the A sprite file as well. So I guess we could go here and just open this and open the one we want and export it in a different way. So we could be setting like a different texture for all of these. And making that little animation like tuk 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 when you get hit. That could be kind of fun. But I would say something for me to look into offline and then talk about it next week. Because I think this is going to be it for today. I'm going to decide on the UI elements later. But I think this is it. I think I'll need to take a little break and then get back into it later in the day. Maybe what we could do. So yeah, when you get hit, we also want to do the hit react screen sake. Because that's always fun. Which we have done before. So screen sake. We were finding the camera and we were shaking. So maybe that's the thing that we want. So we have this camera that anything can access, and we have a gameplay manager component that knows to toggle the pose, for example. But this could be the thing that makes the screen shake as well. A gameplay manager sounds like a good place to do it. Before, we had the screen shake in the view, so each level would have it, but I like the gameplay manager component being able to do it, actually. Instead of this exploratory section, let's give it a try and do a hit react. Add some impact, some oomph to getting hit. So let's see if just adding a gameplay manager component here. So would I leave it in the scripts directory? Who knows, maybe. It's just a script, so I don't add it to anything. It will just exist. And is that true? No. I need to instantiate this, so now it will have an instance of gameplay manager. Great. And then the gameplay manager could have a method saying func screen shake. Maybe the gameplay manager also has a way to get the camera. And will this know what this is? No, we need to say that this is a camera 2D in this instance. And our screen shake method. Oh, interesting. I don't think that will work because it won't keep doing it. So let's just print shake. Shake. Let's say intensity. And the intensity, should it be like a string? I guess. String not a real thing, capital S, not JavaScript allowed. Right, so on toolkit, I would like this thing to have access to the gameplay manager. Should always be there. Should always be there. So and make this have a scene unique name. Only one of those. Oh, that be Son says blue screen of death flashes on the office monitors on the hit, which would be such a attention to detail. I love it. Need to make a note. Be sawed. Blue screen of death could be a final boss. To be honest. So this screen is making it a bit annoying. But regardless, I guess on a 3D game, like you don't see 2D objects, so it wasn't annoying to have the screen there, the HUD there. But now it's a bit annoying. I will need to think about this. But without further thinking, what we wanted is for the hero, when they take the hit, we want them to call a specific method, what is called seek screen seek. Low. And we could define what low means. And screen seek screen. Impact seek. Impact screen seek. Not a real word. And then I want to match on intensity and say that on low, just print this and we'll change what we actually do there. Right, so let's see. All right, I see the seek low here. Should I brave Copilot for this? Let's. In this Godot 4 project, I have access to the camera 2D node. I want to seek it on the x-axis for 0.3 seconds. So it's creating a tween, it's saying. It has an internal method for the camera seek. That takes the intensity, I suppose. Magnitude, it says. So a difference is we can definitely create a new tween here. Difference number one. And seek time 0 doesn't feel correct. But then it is saying to seek it left and right. I suppose this is what this is doing. that the real thing? Maybe. And then it specifies the easing for some reason. And the duration, is this, and then I will try to open it in Godot. It has a formatting thing, slightly better. But the magnitude, what are they claiming is here. Let's go claiming here. 10. And yeah, here it's like, who knows what it's doing. Flipping out. I think it's a different property to set the easings. But let's see how this looks. Yep, doesn't work. As expected. Classic. Either finished or created outside the scene tree. So I just need to add it to the scene. That's my bad. Add child twin. Maybe it's not my bad. An example. Did I just dream up this twin new? Twins created manually are invalid and can't be used for twinning values. Yeah, so I made it up, I guess. I made it up, I admit. Cool. So I've added this twin. Will it work? This part was my bad. Yeah, nice. So from the creator and director of the Smash Brothers series, they say they have different intensity values that look quite different when they do the screen shade, which they do all the time. And the low intensity one is this just an X, and if you have big hits, then it goes up and down as well. So that looks kind of fine. Maybe it should have like different easing indeed, and maybe less magnitude. But I think that's fine. And the audio would add a lot for sure if you like that. Maybe I'll do the sound effects at some point. So for easing, find something, ease, no? There is an ease type apparently, ease type. No? These things. Start slow, starts quickly, faster at the ends. How do I want it? Do I want it linear? The default is ease in and out. Start slow, which is the opposite. So let's try set ease. See if that looks any better. Kinda cute. Wonder if you get like hits at the same time, does the camera just end up in a different position? I think so. Maybe not, like too much screen sake to know. So I would add just a bit more. 8 pixels, I guess. And yeah, we can think about bigger hits, different time. Maybe we should do invulnerability as well. Can we cancel a tween? I know we can wait for a tween to finish. But I guess we could fix that problem with a bit of an invulnerability window. Could do that. So this could be a thing where people can tease it because after a small hit, maybe you are invulnerable and you cannot get the big hit. But hey, weren't that worried. So now the moment this catch up to me, like my health gets depleted, which may be what we want. But I think giving the player like a bit of a buffer should be what we should be doing. Just a bit of a reprieve, even if it's like a millisecond. So our hero, connecting to kit. Maybe we have a var just got hit. Starts like this. And then if just got hit, we return. Just got hit becomes true, and then we can await a timer. Let's see, I've seen a few ways to create this. Let's do 5 seconds or something. Can we wait this? not a real thing. Cannot be chained. Var hit invulnerability timer. And then I think I can await it. Can I wait a second? No. Oh, could get the timeout immediately. What can I pass here? New, nothing. Make it more generic. Then is invulnerable true. Then is invulnerable becomes false again. So I think that would work. We soon see the hit react. We don't see it ever again. All right, let's go to the internet. Godot for await timeout. All right. We can one line this. Await this. That's for 0.1 seconds. Is this a meaningful difference? Let's see. So yeah, it looks like we don't get like a bunch of hits. Maybe we do. Let's make it like 1 second. So it feels like it worked. All right, so we can also make this a property that maybe each character should have. That's the thing I'm thinking of now. But I think we won't do it like that. So just the hero will have an invulnerability window. And have this be like 0.3, because that could be something you level up. Up to you if you like it. Like 1 minute of invulnerability. Feels good. Feels excessive to go after that. More than that. And we can even use it here. And the amount of screen sake can also depend on how much you got damaged for. But that's something for another time. So maybe a group for this. Can I put it in an existing group? Let's find out. So if I name this health, no, like boosts, buffs. To sort. Needs to be longer. Needs to be longer. But I can mess with it here. Ah, I see. So it just appears here. Clearly not gonna be 16 seconds. All right, 60 seconds feels like a lifetime. Half a second? Wait a minute. It's definitely not half a second. Maybe 5 seconds. So what happened there? Time sec, it says. Should I do it the classic way, like this? Is there a difference? Maybe. All right, so let's go back to the 1 second. Sensible. Yeah, 1 second of grace period could be fun. All right. Tweaks that can happen offline, I suppose. So we don't have game over screen or anything like that. We do have this ugly HUD just in the way all the time. But hey, I think this is gonna be it. I do have like a big Kanban just for the fun of it, just because it was gonna be the office setting as well. But we did manage to do handling the player, damaging the player, and that's it, I suppose. We did do like some extra health UI, I guess, as part of this. But this has been fun. I'll see about what the actual UI is gonna look like. A dash for the character would be fun to do for sure. Collectibles like health pickups, and the goal of this game, for it to start being more of a game or an actual game, would be when there is like a risk, like you want to go somewhere, you want to win, but you need to dodge these peeps. So that's when it will start becoming more of a game. And 2 days ago, when we started this live stream, a million years ago, we did the navigation. Having these guys being able to follow us around. So just before the final demo, let's add maybe some more offices here. So this office, let's add it. Furniture, patterns. Let's paint it here. Dijkstra would be proud. From The Witcher. So let's add a few more things here. And props. And then I can only assume we need to bake this region again. All right, do this for the demo too. The writer of the Pathfinder algorithm, Dijkstra, of course. Of course. Clearly, I'm in game mode to go to The Witcher first. Cool. So let's do our final demo for today. In today's live stream, we've worked more on this GameJam game for the MinnHax MinnMax Community GameJam. It's gonna take the whole of October. We'll do a few live streams here, and we started making this thing be more of a game. The main thing that we did was having our enemies be able to go and find and hunt down our player. So that's hard for this sort of game that does have walls and obstacles, because even I can draw a straight line and just say go there, but actually figuring out what the best possible path is trickier, but possible in Godot with not too much technical knowledge. We didn't need to do any math. Actually, the math was done for us. We created a navigation region, we baked it around what our tile maps have set as collision objects. So this desk you can collide to, you cannot go through. Let's actually try to play the game and see how it looks. So see how mindfully the glitches go through the objects, how they navigate through the stage. If they do hit the desks, that's fine. It's just because they cannot turn that well. They can turn like us, but they do know that they should go through the door. Trapped. So that's nice. Some glitches, but overall seems like it works. And of course, like this is one of the reasons why in games you have enemies like zombies that you know, if you see them behaving slightly dumb, then you're like, they're zombies. They have half a brain at best, so it's fine. But yeah, mostly it works. We figured it out, and let's do a demo. You can see the navigation region. So we didn't need to design the polygons. We didn't need to say that we are able to go through this or there. We just painted the stage, and then our navigation region did the math for us to create the polygons. So let's try to paint another desk here. Let's add yet another desk right here with another set of screens on the correct layer. After we've done that, we need to select our navigation region and rebake. And you can see that it found out that, oh, can't go through here. And if I play again, the enemies do know to avoid that extra desk that we just created. Great. Also, once the enemies catch us, we've made it so we get hit. So our player has health. Go, 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 go. On the top left, on the bottom left, you can see the 3 heart containers that we have. If we get a hit, damn, there is a little animation in place. We have a brief invulnerability window that's customizable, so maybe we'll get like a boost. You play through the game, you get a longer invulnerability window, so you don't get like a million hits when a million glitches hit you. But what we haven't done is a game over stage, so now this is so cute. But in this stage where we have no more hearts, then we should be losing. So Son says, your last iOS job was for a career startup and Pathfinding was life or death for the company. And the Pathfinder was the Rust team's responsibility because it needed to be fast. Yeah, Mike was also in the chat earlier and I was saying how Pathfinding is like the classical computer science problem. And it's one of those which do have a practical application in that sort of job that you were doing, or that your company was doing, the Rust team was doing in there. It's like the classic traveling salesman problem and all of those exercises. If you see them in an interview, sometimes in real life you would need to solve this. But of course, in real life, you would be able to ask someone else, or you'd be able to Google and look up things and previous work, because it's a known problem that people have solved many ways. You wouldn't be like, all right, here's a laptop, in 1 hour we go to production, figure out the pathfinding here. But at the very least, it's a realistic problem. It's not like, find how many times this string gets repeated. But yeah, also the hit react, the slight screen shake, because it's a low hit, low impact hit, but adds a bit of dance. We also did this now. And for later, what I would do alone would be, this is so cute, would be the game over stage, although I'm not sure if you'd move on. I mentioned that this game I wanted to have 2 phases. It's the vibes phase, where you interact with the other characters, and it's just chatting people up, essentially just talking about day-to-day life, slice of life type of stuff. But what you do there may affect what happens in this gameplay phase scenario. So maybe you talk to one person that teaches you how to roll with the punches, and then you maneuver more easily. That could be a thing that happens. Or you have more health, or you're stronger and deal more damage, or whatever. Or maybe talking to a character leads to more monsters appearing, or monsters of specific type. I don't really know, but maybe game over here actually means you go to the other phase, and then you finish that other phase, and you go back into this world. Not really sure, so I'm not sure if I do want to code a game over screen, but definitely game over and retry screen is what makes this a game. That's an MVP for making this downloadable, so you can play as well. You people at home should be able to play this. My goal would be, if you like the stream, let me know. I'll keep doing them. I would love to keep doing this for the whole of October, as the GameJam is for the whole of October and a bit extra. And my goal would be after the next weekend, next Monday, I actually have like a prototype demo out for you to play. Hopefully it won't be the last version of the game. the last playable version. But if you want to dodge monsters and collect some things, I think would be able to go to that. And some suggest could be a decision between office decor versus technical depth. There's lots of things. Like the technical depth can be like the glit that wears you down, like the skeleton, like zombie code that keeps coming back. Who knows? I think there are fun allegories to have there. You could have a conversation where you figure out about this technical debt that you have, or this code base that no one can go, and it's like a jungle out there or something like that. And that gets reflected in this dream world situation. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Technical depth is important. Like I'll write this one down. I did have a whole page of what could the things that hit you be. Like what could you be talking about? And I don't think I had technical depth. So things should be here. Getting into this, making this more of a Pac-Man style, it's amazing. You need to avoid things and things are out to get you. Was the last thing that, I inspired to started working on yesterday. I was thinking that this could be more of a Plants vs. Zombies tower defense type of thing, where you set your own defenses, and maybe you have like the full stack developer or the front-end developer or back-end developer. If you put them behind a front-end developer, then they do like super damage or something like that. Or it could be Vampire Survivor style, reverse bullet hell. But I do like designing the levels, and therefore I do like the maze approach. So not sure if I'll stick with it, but at the moment I do think I'll be doing more on this front. But I think that's about it for the demo and for today's stream. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know what you'd like to see next. If we do keep going to do Godot again and game dev next Sunday, let me know what things would be fun for you to see and to solve. I could be doing animations all day and see how we integrate those, but maybe it could be something else that's a bit more challenging, I guess. Hooking the animations together and how we did it today. I think I kind of figured it out, so it just takes time to do, and maybe it's not that interesting to look at. At the same time, putting animations in always is such a pleasure. Just seeing something come to life is so fun. So maybe it was fun for you. Let me know. In any case, maybe you're trying out a game and you're like, oh, I'm trying to put this in the game and I don't know how, and then we cannot know how together and figure it out on the fly. Thanks a bunch. Regardless, for watching. A special thanks to the people in the chat. I see you there, son. So have a good rest of Sunday as well. Have a lovely week coming up, but definitely enjoy today first. And happy birthday again for yesterday, son. My birthday coming up, still a couple of weeks more. So we'll see what we'll do for the birthday stream. Actually, I need to start thinking about it more than whether I should get cake or not. Anyway, it's been a pleasure today. Have fun, take care, and I'll see you around. Bye.